Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me in part 2 of the third installment of our 5-part summer series, where we will be talking about selling the last-minute vacations without stressing discounts and specials. A little bit of housekeeping. If you cannot hear me, please use your access number provided on your invitation on your phone or your computer speakers to listen. My name is Emily Thompson. I'm an online marketing consultant here at Visual Data Systems, and I will be presenting today. Visual Data Systems is uniquely qualified to bring you these e-academies. Since 1994, we've been working with the vacation rental industry on things like website design, software integration, search engine optimization and marketing, technology consultation, email marketing, and much more. Today, in part 2, we're going to talk about pay-per-click ads, using them to drive more traffic to your website for those last-minute bookings, but not for discounts, as well as Craigslist, creating featured ads on classified ad websites. With pay-per-click, we're going to talk about creating property-specific ads. If you have properties that you're having difficulty booking, or you have availability during a specific time frame, you can run paid ads based on those that will appeal to the user on a more specific basis. We're also going to talk about the suggestions and implementation for these ads and best practices and pitfalls, things that people typically run into. Craigslist you may not be as familiar with, so we're going to talk about use and implementation, suggested targeting, and tools. So let's get started here. So now we're going to talk about running a pay-per-click ad related to a specific property or a specific, say, condo complex. In the example I'm using, I'm talking about Beach Colony Rentals. Beach Colony is a complex in Perdido Key, Florida. What I can do is create a specific ad in Google AdWords related to the Beach Colony ad group that features information about a specific property I might be having trouble booking. So the user goes in and types in the search query, Beach Colony Rentals. They've stayed in Beach Colony before and they want to again. My ad shows up that is specific to Beach Colony condos. You can see it's a 3-bedroom beachfront condo. Okay, well this ad is very specific to the user's query, and so they're much more likely to click on this ad. You will see higher click-through rates for these specific property ads if they match the user's query. From that ad, we don't want to send them just to the website where they have to start looking around for our Beach Colony condos. No, you featured a specific property here that was for 3 bedrooms, a beachfront condo, so send them to that specific property page. This can be utilized in many ways. You can do it for communities, for complexes. You can also do it for specific properties. So make sure that you're making it as easy as possible for the user who knows what they want to buy. You can also run these ads for a few things to keep in mind when you're creating these property or community-specific ads. Determine the properties and the most relevant ad groups to put these ads in. So you figured out which properties you're having trouble booking. Now you have to go and find which ad group is the most relevant to those properties. If I type in a search query for a Nag's Head rental and I see a Hatteras Island rental show up, I'm not inclined to click on that. But if I see a Nag's Head rental that has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, exactly what I need, then I'm going to be more inclined to click on it and more inclined to go to the website. So make sure that your properties are aligned with the correct ad group. And then also make sure you're sending people directly to the property page. As I said before, you want to keep it as simple as possible. And so making sure that the user can just follow an easy flow directly to the property page makes it more likely that they're going to book with you. A few settings that you want to keep in mind when you're running these property or community-specific ads. Locations and languages. If you're running an ad based on availability, you want to make sure that you're targeting people within a given driving distance, maybe 2 to 3 hours. If you're running an ad based on a certain event or something that's time sensitive, make sure that you're targeting the right areas. And you can target in AdWords based on country, city, region, zip code. There's many ways that you can break down these ads, and so make sure you break it down as closely as possible to what your users are looking for. And then also in the advanced settings, there's the ad delivery options. If you're testing ads, if you're running multiple ads for different areas, you want to see which ones are performing best, or you want to try running ads based on a property and you want to see if they're performing better than your general ads, rotate the ads evenly. That way, they're rotated over a specific amount of time, they each have the same amount of impressions, and then you can accurately gauge which have more successful click-throughs. If you go with any of the other options, optimized for clicks or conversions, Google will then determine which ads are the most relevant or which ads are best to be running, and so you don't get a good view of the overall picture. Rather than running property or community-specific ads, you can also run availability-specific ads. If I know that I'm hurting for bookings or I have a lot of availability the 4th week in August, I'm able to create ads centered around that date range. So say I'm a user and I look just for Outer Banks rentals. I see an ad that comes up for the week of August 18th or 19th, which is exactly when I was planning on booking. You then have the opportunity to provide something more specific to your user, and they're going to be more inclined to click on that ad rather than something general that says view our Outer Banks rental homes. Providing that date range and then taking them to a specific canned search for that date range can be very effective. You really want to make sure that you're keeping things simple for your users. They're looking to book. They want a vacation rental, so make it as easy as possible. Taking them to this canned search for that availability will allow you to provide your user with exactly what is most relevant to them. And then that modified search, if you take them to a canned result, that modified search can be very effective. This date range, the results that you're seeing here is for a specific date range. Say they also want to include an additional amenity, say pet friendly, then they're able just to hit that modified search and continue with the research process, and it's very easy for them to continue on. The next thing we're going to talk about are our classified listing ads. The one you're probably most familiar with is Craigslist. Typically on any kind of classified listing sites, you'll see an area for housing and then for vacation rentals. So there's a specific area for vacation rentals on these different sites. Granted, it's a little bit more work to actually create these ads and put them up, but we tend to see a buffer effect with this type of advertising, meaning that you get a lot of traffic to the website and it actually buffers your other properties. We've found that traffic from these types of sites typically has a 50% or below bounce rate, which means that yes, you're getting some unqualified traffic to the site, but 50% of those users came to your website and looked at additional pages, looked at additional properties or additional pages on your website. But those users were also exposed to your branding now, and they actually know about you. So one of the things we found is that there's a buffer effect. Rather than going and creating, just 9 bookings for that specific property, we do find traffic kind of filters through to other areas of the website. And with these listings, you also have the opportunity to make them very specific to a property. Say you're having difficulty booking a specific property, you can include the address and the location. You can include how much rent is, for the week. And then you can also include many descriptions of the actual unit as well as pictures. And this is very enticing. It's a lot of information, and so if the user goes to click on your website, they already know what you're selling and what you're offering. So there's a good chance that they are interested in purchasing or actually getting to know more about your company. A few best practices for classified listings. Post on Saturday or Sunday mornings. Please disregard Sunday nights. People look at these classified listing websites mostly during the weekends when they have a little bit of leisure time. And so posting on a Saturday or Sunday will make sure that your ad has a little bit more exposure and hasn't been pushed down too far yet. Post no more than 4 or 5 ads at a time, especially if you're posting property-specific ads. Only post 4 or 5 properties at a time, because if you don't, you run the risk of getting flagged by one of these websites, and then you're prohibited from actually posting in the future. So make sure that you only post a few ads at a time. Post in one city or geographic listing area at a time. This is actually explicitly stated by Craigslist in the rules and regs. I know a lot of people are inclined to just post in 10 different cities, thinking that the more traffic the better, but that actually violates the rules and regs, and you can potentially get flagged. So post in one area and make sure that it's the most relevant and that you're you're posting based on that given location. What I mean by that is if you're posting in a very large metro city, you may need to post more often because there's going to be more ads. So think about that when you pick your city or your geographic listing. Also, delete the previous post before reposting. You may want to post Monday through Friday every single day to make sure that your ad is at the top, but make sure that you delete that previous posting because you could get flagged for duplicate postings. And then also rotate your templates if you're using them. Users come and they'll come to your ad and they've seen that template before. They may immediately click off even though it's for a different property. So make sure that you're rotating your templates and keeping things fresh. A few suggestions: choose 3 properties from 3 different classes. Choose an economic property, choose somewhere in the middle range, and then choose a luxury property. Post them each and see how things go. Make sure you're tracking your results to these different property pages, but then you have the opportunity for anyone in each of these economic classes to be able to make a booking or to view your property. Also, list on different property classified sites. Craigslist is just one of them. There's also Backpage.com, FreeClassifieds.com, and many more. And one of the things you can do is really utilize a tool for ad creation called Postlets.com. This is actually something created specifically for real estate and homes in general. It's very easy to create custom classified ads, and you can actually automate your ads to these different sites as well. So take a look at Postlets.com. It's free. You're able to just sign up and create a few ads, and it's very easy to edit and utilize. So take a look at it. Thank you for joining me. That's all I have for you today. Our future webinars, part 3, we're going to be talking about social media and email marketing, really kind of selling the vacation, not just the vacation rental. After that, Henry Siri, our senior online marketing consultant, will also present adapting and taking advantages of changes to Google local search. These sessions will be posted on our website, www.visualdatasystems.com, as soon as possible. Again, thank you for joining. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me at emilyt@vdsys.com. Thank you for joining.